Hello and welcome to Sincerely Elvis Presley. I'm Sean. Whether you're new to the channel or if you're a regular viewer, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. So we come to part 2 of my original UK Elvis vinyl on a budget. Last time I showed what I'd managed to pick up until 1964 and Elvis Gold Records Volume 3. So without further ado, let's carry on with 1964 and Kissing Cousins. Now this is a really nice copy. This one was about £12 I think, and it's in really nice clean condition. Red spot, beautiful. I always had a soft spot for this soundtrack. Played it a lot when I was a kid. As I did with this one, Roustabout. Again, nice clean copy there, no nasty marks or anything on it. I think that was probably somewhere around the £12–13 mark. What have we got? I'm expecting to see a red spot on quite a lot of these from now on because, as I said last time, someone's kindly written a AH12, which I don't think refers to the pressing, but yeah, as I said last time, it's easier to pick up the 60s vinyl within that kind of budget with the red spots, and you are usually getting your original presses there. What have we got next? We've got Girl Happy, recently released on the FTD sessions. This is a great soundtrack, great cover. This is a beautiful copy, and this was another bargain, I think. Definitely quite considerably under £15, this one. It's going to be a theme. Every time I get these out, you're going to see a very similar inner sleeve, and you're going to see a red spot, and then you're going to see me struggle to get it back in, he says, as that one slips in really easy. Thanks for that. Okay, we're in the mid 60s. We're firmly in soundtrack territory. So Paradise Hawaiian style. This one is double laminate. So laminated on both sides, no real laminate lift to speak of. Again, kept this one within budget, probably about £12–13 I think, which is nice, and that's not going to go in, so we'll leave that out there. Then we got this UK only release, Elvis Flamin' Star and Summer Kisses. This was quite tricky to get hold of in nice condition, so I think I shot the budget on this one. I think this probably was about £25, which for one in this condition wasn't too bad at all. There's no real marking on it. We've got our red spot, and it's gone back in, which is a miracle. So yeah, Flamin' Star and Summer Kisses, UK original. UK exclusive, I should have said. And then we get the UK only cover of Elvis for Everyone. Absolutely, completely and utterly different to the US pressing, US version. And if I'm honest, I think I prefer this one. The US one showing Elvis sort of presiding out as a shopkeeper over sort of almost a cash register with the titles of the tracks on boards as if they're something he's selling. No, I don't think. A classic cover, I guess, a classic Elvis cover, but I think the UK one's far superior. Let me know what you think in the comments, but I definitely think this one wins it for me. This is not a bad condition copy at all, really. This is another of those that can fetch high prices because it's a little bit rarer, but there you go, red spot, as they all are at this time if you get an original press. And that one doesn't really want to go in either. Don't know what it is about those inner sleeves. It's almost like those particular inner sleeves are too big, so they sort of billow out as you try and push them in. What have we got next? We've got Harem Holiday. Sort of guilty pleasure of mine. I loved playing this when I was a kid, and I particularly loved the 2 bonus tracks, Animal Instinct and Wisdom of the Ages. I kind of thought they were almost better than anything on the actual soundtrack, other than So Close Yet So Far, which is, for me, is a classic. But this is a beautifully clean press of it. This was another bargain. I think it was under £10 I paid for this one. Beautiful condition. Red spot. Next up we have, I think for me, one of the weaker soundtracks, Frankie and Johnny. There are some decent tracks on it, I think, but I find it hard to forgive things like Petunia the Gardener's Daughter and Lookout Broadway. You know, what a guy who had changed music and who had, you know, an instinct for music like no other. What he was doing, recording things like Petunia's the Gardener's Daughter, I don't care if it fitted the context of the film. He shouldn't have been doing them. My opinion. And as we know, the sleeve of this was doctored and his head was taken from the Girl Happy sessions and placed on the body. Very odd. But yeah, nice condition press there. All the presses pretty much I've got of the early stuff is mono, because they are easier to get than the stereo ones, especially within the budget. Red spot, and difficult to get back in as well. California Holiday, the UK title of Spin Out as it was. This is a really nice clean press. Is there any marking on it? I thought a couple of, yeah, there's a tiny little bit of, someone's got some, I don't know if that's going to come up, just a slight bit of pen mark there, but for the overall condition that's in, I can live with that. Beautiful red spot, and the inner sleeve in this one is in beautiful condition. You know, some are quite creased. Still won't go in there. Now, we move on to How Great Thou Art, 1967. Now, this is not an original. I believe this is an original sleeve. It certainly looks like an original sleeve. And the sleeve's in beautiful condition. But I don't think this is a red spot, if I remember rightly. I think we're into orange label territory on here. We are indeed. But to be perfectly honest, for the sleeve condition, I'm happy with that. And even that sleeve won't go in. So it's almost like these 60s ones, the outer sleeve was slightly too tight, because there you've got a completely different inner sleeve, much later inner sleeve, and it still doesn't want to go in easily. Okay, let's move on to not one of Elvis's finest hours in movies. I think most of us will agree, but nevertheless, quite a decent soundtrack. There's some quite good tracks on here. Long-Legged Girl's great. City by Night I really like. Baby Forgive Me All Your Love. Let's not talk about Old MacDonald, shall we? Although if you go on to David Hulet's channel, you get to see a bit of him singing Old MacDonald briefly, which is great. So, and he's recently done a whole video looking at Elvis and Double Trouble and how the camera crews did some shooting in Belgium and what have you, so that's well worth checking out. Right, Double Trouble, beautiful clean copy of Double Trouble. Again, I think this one was under £10. Red spot. Now, this is the first of the original pressings that is stereo. We have Clambake. And this is in not bad shape at all. We do have a teeny weeny little pen mark there, but again, I can live with that. And this is on a red spot. And I think that might be an original inner sleeve, because I think the stereo ones we started seeing different inner sleeves to the mono red spots. But even this one doesn't want to go back in. Look. Clambake. Now, what I've got here is a really nice stereo press of Elvis Gold Records 4. Now, the sleeve on this is in gorgeous condition. But what makes this one a little bit special, I think, is that we get it on the small orange label, which wasn't about for long at all. So I was quite pleased to get that on a small orange. You see, you don't want to go in. They do not want to go in. I don't know what it is. Let me know in the comments if it's just me that has this trouble, but you find yourself sort of having to wiggle it and sort of, yeah, I don't get it. Okay, moving swiftly on, we have ourselves a stereo copy of Speedway. This was one of the very, very early ones I picked up. I got this on a trip to Derbyshire, found this little place, a really unassuming little second-hand shop. You kind of went in and there was all bric-a-brac and bits and bobs, but on the top floor there was a little bit of vinyl, but there was a sign on the wall talking about some outhouse sheds at the back with more vinyl, and it was packed. And this was probably at the stage, this was before I started the channel up, and I probably had at that stage the initial 4 that I'd bought, and that may have been it. I think that earlier that day I'd bought separate rays from a second-hand shop, and then we went into this outhouse, and I got this, and I got Flaming Star in really nice condition for, I think I paid him about £9 each. So it's one of the very first ones I got, and I loved this album as a kid. Absolutely loved the Speedway soundtrack, played it to death. So again, you know, this was kind of before I'd made up my mind what I was going to do in terms of collecting vinyl, and this was more picked up on a pure, God, I loved that nostalgia, I want a copy of that. But really nice copy of Speedway. Then we move on to the classic absolute genius of the 68 Special soundtrack. This is an original press. You can tell that by the big RCA there, and you can also tell it's an original press because inside we have ourselves another small orange label, which is nice. So there's Elvis TV Special, as the album's called. And moving on, we have the other album I was just talking about picking up in Derbyshire early on. Elvis Sings Flaming Star. There's something I really love about the laminate covers, not just the shininess of them. I know a lot of people favour the US pressings because, let's face it, with the US pressings, the colour wraps itself around. I think David in Japan's talked about this. So when you see them on a shelf, there's this beautiful array of coloured spines, whereas the UK ones, just as the spines, they're dull as dishwater. Look, they're white. So in a big row of them, they don't look the best. But that said, and the fact that the US sleeves are somewhat thicker, I just really love that laminate, and I love that fold over line that you get on the back of the laminate on most of them. Something about it that's just very evocative of the time. So yeah, so this was one that was another £9 one, bought very early on, and that is on your green international label. Then we have the genius that is from Elvis in Memphis. This one's got a thicker fold over of the laminate, and this is just your standard orange label, gloss orange label by the look of it. Elvis in Memphis. From Memphis to Vegas, Vegas to Memphis, Elvis in person at the International Hotel and back in Memphis. great stuff. And this is just your orange label, shiny orange label by the look of it, because there are some that are matte and some that are shiny. Even these don't want to go in. I seem cursed with trying to get inner sleeves into outer sleeves. Okay, so this is Let's Be Friends. Now this, when I talked in the first episode of the Let's Be Friends that I picked up as the very first vinyl back in March last year, that was a US press, so I had to get myself a UK press, and I think I probably pulled this out on my video some time ago on collecting vinyl on a budget. This was from a fairly local record shop near us, and this was £4. So this is definitely one of the cheapest that I have in the collection. International label, green international label. Moving on, Elvis on Stage. This is one that I had an early pressing of, but I did pick this one up last year. I think I featured in a video because it's got the original poster in absolute mint condition. So I think this probably went over the 15, if I remember rightly. I think this is probably about £17 because it had the poster and everything intact. Reissue of Elvis's Christmas album from 1970, and this is your green shiny international label. Then we've got a reissue of Elvis Golden Records from 1970, Volume 1, beautiful cover, and that's again a shiny gloss orange label. Next up, the original UK cover for Almost in Love, which I think a little bit like Elvis for Everyone, for me, is superior to the cover that everyone else got, or certainly that the US got, which is the colour photo of that's on the back. But I think that's a stunning cover, absolutely stunning. And this is shiny green international label. That's the way it is. What more can I say? Really, really nice original 1971 press of that. And that's on your orange label. You'll Never Walk Alone. This is one that was super cheap. I think it was about £3 or £4. There are so many of these. Every time I go into second-hand record shops, they've got these. Lots and lots of them. They seem that You'll Never Walk Alone, and usually I've got Lucky and Separate Ways. See, I can't get the sleeve in this either. They are not being kind to me today. Elvis Country. What a fantastic album. What a fantastic cover. What a fantastic sticker. So this is an original, which includes your bonus photo. And that's on shiny orange label. Next up, repress. Elvis Golden Records Volume 2. What a fantastic cover. One of the greatest covers ever, I think. Shiny orange label. Love Letters from Elvis. Quite difficult to get. That's not in a version that's not yellowed. This isn't too bad. Shiny orange label. There's a theme here. Come on, everybody. This is Double double laminate. Oh, it's definitely not an original inner sleeve, and that's your green international. Definitely not an original inner sleeve, that one, with no cutout. So when I did my Christmas episode, I didn't actually have a UK press of The Wonderful World of Christmas in its original sleeve, and shortly after Christmas the prices of them went down, and I found this one that was you know, again, this is a little bit like love letters. Quite a lot of them are badly tarnished, but this one isn't too bad at all. So thought I'd better add the original of that to the collection for completeness. Next up, we've got I Got Lucky in its original sleeve. Again, this was, as I said, these turn up in the second-hand shops a lot, and this was, I believe, £3 or £4 I think I paid for this one. They're very easy to pick up. And I also got, and this was going back to the first episode, I talked about the house clearance shop where I got my 3 albums for a tenner. That was this. So this was the reissue of I Got Lucky with a different sleeve. But as this was the version that I had originally, it was nice to have a copy of that. That's on a later Camden by the look of it. Then we got the UK reissue of Elvis for Everyone from 1972. What a fabulous sleeve. And this is on your shiny orange label. Elvis for Everyone. And then sticking with reissues, UK reissue from 72 of the very first album, this time being graced with a photograph from the 68 special nightclub scene. And a shiny orange label. And to round this particular episode off, we're going to finish with Elvis Now. This is your shiny two-sided laminate. And this is the matte orange label. So there we go. That takes us to 1972. And it's quite amazing, really, when you think about, how easy it is to pick things up if you're patient and if you're prepared to wait and just hold on for the right price. As I say, there's very few of these that have tipped the £15 mark. I want to say, probably out of all of them I'm going to show in these 3 episodes, probably about half a dozen, 10 tops out of all of them that have pushed past that £15 mark. So, it goes to show it's possible to do if you know exactly what you're looking for and you're prepared to hang on and wait. There's some absolute gems out there. You just got to bide your time and not accept the ones that the condition isn't great and what's being asked is pretty unreasonable for the condition they're in. But that takes us to 1972. So next week I'll finish off onwards from 72 and we'll go up until This Is Elvis. So again, I hope you've enjoyed that little look through what I've managed to pick up and what I've managed to add to the collection. Let me know in the comments what you think. And that's about it for this week. So please, as ever, I know I say it every time, but that truism is about over 50% of people that watch your videos aren't subscribed. It is correct. And that's fine. There's no obligation for anyone to subscribe. If people don't want to subscribe, that's absolutely fine by me. No problem at all. But it would be great for me if you could just take the time to do that, if you haven't already, because it just helps the channel. There's no commitment to you at all, but it does mean to go, especially if you click on the notification bell, you will get to know when I release new videos. And as I've said before, I'm usually pretty regular. You will always see a video from me on, bearing a massive power failure, or me being hit by a bus, God forbid, or whatever. Usually you will always see a video from me at 6 o'clock GMT every Sunday. But I do put out other content in between. If something drops through the letterbox or some news is announced that I think, you know, it would be worth making a video of, then I do them at other times. So, you know, if you're not got that notification clicked, you may not see those. But anyway, I appreciate all your support. Have yourselves a great week. I will see you next week, hopefully. But until then, take care. Ta-da.
We'll meet you again. God bless you. Adios.